Hello and welcome to Fluketronic. You've been listening to a new flute I've got in. This is a bass A from Brent Adams, number 228. This is my convertible flute. What does that mean? Stay tuned after the break. Okay, so what do I mean by a convertible flute? Well, first of all, let's go over some specs. This is a bass A, A3. The body wood is chestnut. Meranti end cap and mouthpiece, and the block is made of walnut. This is the low profile block. All right, when I'm getting to know a flute, I like to use my tuner app, and let's do that now. And let's see what happens. I just flow into the flute naturally. Okay, so what you can see there is the dial is way to the left, so it's playing quite a bit flat of a 440, which is not usually a problem. As you probably know, Native American style flutes can vary in their tuning and pitch depending on how hard you blow, obviously, and just the temperature in the room, humidity, all those kinds of things can affect the pitch of the flute. So that's generally not a problem. So when I'm first playing a flute and trying to get to know that flute, what I'm basically trying to do is see how in tune the flute is with itself. Are there any notes that are a lot sharper or flatter in pitch? That kind of thing. So I'm not that concerned about is it straight up north on the tuner. But when I noticed that, first of all, it's like, that's playing quite a bit flat. So when I noticed that, and that's really not uncommon for new flutes that I get in, I generally play with a lower breath pressure, which tends to flatten the pitch. So a lot of the flutes I get in, or many, will play like that. So my first thought when I get something like that is to try, well, maybe it plays better at a different pitch reference. And one of the most common ones for Native American style flute, a lot of folks are doing flutes pitched in A432. So I can change my tuner to that. Okay, so I'm going to dial up 432. And try again. Now, this time what I'm going to try and do is adjust my breath to get the pitch straight up north. See what happens. Okay, so with a little bit of breath control, I can definitely play it as an A432 instrument. So I told Brent that, and he was kind of surprised. He said, that's interesting. Of course, we both know there's reasons for that. And he came back and said, that block I sent you might be part of the reason. Because when we talked about this flute, I'll give you a link to his introduction on this flute. And if you'll notice, he had a different block on there. And we were talking about, it's like, I'd be just as happy with just a plainer block rather than the wolf style block that he had on it. And he said, well, I've got one, I'll send you that. And then when I told him, it's kind of playing like a 432 flute, he said, the block might be part of the problem because I didn't actually check the tuning. I didn't tune with that block, and I didn't check the tuning before I went out. He said the one I did tune in has a shorter chimney. And what he's talking about is the kind of height here above the flute. And I said, well, that's interesting. Well, and he said he still had the wolf block. So I said, hey, let's send me that and let's see what happens. So I'll show you that next. So this is the wolf block that the flute was tuned to. And let me see if I can line these up. And if you can see there, the wolf is quite a bit shorter than the flat block. So as Brent was saying, and I'm not a flute maker, so I don't understand exactly how that works, but he was explaining that the taller chimney, that's called, should flatten the pitch. So the shorter one should raise the pitch. So let me get this guy on here. Reset to a 440 pitch reference. And I'm just going to play the flute naturally like I did the first time, see what happens. So you can see with my natural breath pressure, it's still playing flat, but it's not as flat as the other block. And if I've got the tuner, what that lets me do is blow a little harder and I can get it up to 440 pitch. So let's try that. And as usual, you have to play with your block placement. I might have had it a little bit not quite perfect there. All right, yeah, so that's what I mean by a convertible. So now I have a 432 flute with the taller block. I can put that on, drop the breath pressure a little bit, and be right in tune with 432. And you can listen back. So what that gives me is a little bit mellower tone, purer tone. And then I can put on the wolf block, blow a little harder, and get up to 440. What that gives me is a little brighter tone, a little more air in it. So yeah, both can be useful depending on the song, purpose, whatever. So yeah, convertible flute. Thanks, Brent. Bye.